So listen, I've had a few people hit me up and ask for guides on how to do double exposures with a digital camera. Now, I think I'm going to do more of a comprehensive guide at some point in the future where I go through each major camera brand's version of a double exposure feature, if it has one. And I think I am going to do that here in the next couple months, maybe this summer or something. But in this video, I wanted to talk about a series of photos I shot last year. And I wanted to talk about specifically doing double exposures with a Fujifilm camera. Okay, so I've got my Fujifilm X-E4 right here, and I set it to double exposure mode just by hitting the drive button, and you can select that. And I'm using this 35mm TT Artisan's lens that goes all the way down to 0.95, which is pretty crazy. But that's really hard to use because that gives you like just a tiny little hair of focus. So it's really hard to hit focus, so I wouldn't recommend it for most things. Now, a big thing to keep in mind about doing double exposures on whatever digital camera you have, and some cameras offer this feature and others don't, a Fujifilm has different blending modes for double exposures. So I've heard people hit me up and be like, hey, when I shoot a double exposure with my Fujifilm, it doesn't look how yours look because they blend together in the shadows or the highlights or whatever. Well, I'm gonna tell you how to fix that too. And I'm gonna tell you how I prefer to set up my camera when shooting double exposures. And it's pretty simple overall. What you do first is you go to the shooting settings in your camera, the little camera icon, and you'll go to the second collection of menus, and you'll see this option called multiple exposure control. And I have mine set to average. I don't remember out of the box how your double exposure feature will be set. I want to say it likes to be on additive, but that will give your double exposure some weird effects that I don't necessarily love the look of because they end up looking kind of digital where they blend because the blending isn't seamless. Average most replicates the look of doing a double exposure on film, and that's what I'm after. I want something that looks organic and realistic when blending images on a digital camera. My goal is for you to see a double exposure of mine and not necessarily know what kind of camera I shot it on. So the photos I'm gonna shoot in this video are basically inspired by photos I shot last year around this time. So my yard sucks. It's terrible looking, except for these tiny little pockets. I've got a couple trees and some wisteria that climbs all over my rotting fence that I need to replace. But last spring, I took my 35mm and 50mm TT Artisan's lens on my Fujifilm, and I shot a series of spring photos in my yard. And I really like how they turned out. I played with some of the color, but I just it was like jazz. I just would just go out there every couple days and I would just shoot photos of flowers on my trees and in different light during the sunset, all different times of day. And I just would love going out there, and they never really got old to me. And then, it got warmer and everything kind of dried out. The blooms went away and it kind of went to become that dead green of summer. So it was fun while it lasted. Okay, so what I'm doing is pretty simple. Basically, I'm shooting the flowers, and then basically just for this photo, I'm just showing you my process. So for this photo, I'm not doing anything super crazy or complicated. I'm just gonna shoot a photo of the flowers, and I'm going to use the negative space I create in the shadows to layer the second photo over. This is just some basic stuff with how this works for double exposures. Lot of shadows here. Okay, so in this photo, it's a little dark. It's tough to see outside. So in this one, here's my first photo. And notice there's a lot of shadows around it. And in the second photo, I fit that flower that was in focus inside the shadow of the second photo. And you don't have to always use a manual focus lens. I like to just have that extra level of control because sometimes you shoot something in focus and then the second photo you want out of focus. So it gives it a cool, ethereal look. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I hope that the idea of using the shadows around to contain your second image or first image or whatever, and you can even find shadows at noon, which is when I shot these photos. And I'm really happy with how some of these turned out. And I even went and shot some, after I played with these a little bit, I also just got caught up in the prettiness of all the wisteria and just took some regular non-double exposed photos. So thanks for watching. This is kind of a weird video, a little more relaxed and chill than my normal videos, but yeah, I just wanted to try something different. It was a spur of the moment thing. I had no plans to do this video until I went outside and saw how pretty everything was. So I hope you got something out of it. Please subscribe if you're interested in what's going on here. I really appreciate it. I've blown away by the growth, and I really appreciate everyone who has joined in and followed along. You can follow me on Instagram at Will Malone. You can follow my Polaroid Instagram account at RoidRage72, and I will see you soon.